In this video, I will be developing a concise and coherent argument, proving the impossibility of the Protestant teaching of Sola Scriptura. We will argue from the reliability of the Canon to show that this doctrine is actually self-refuting. You will have to watch the video till the end to know how the argument works. Before we start with a refutation of Sola Scriptura, it is important to get our definition straight. As some Protestants have rightly noted, there has been a tendency among some Catholics to define Sola Scriptura as the teaching that the Bible is the sole authority in matters of divine revelation. And it would seem that some Protestants do hold to this sort of rigid version of the doctrine, especially witnessed in their allegations against the Catholic Church for teaching extra-biblical doctrines. This rigid version of Sola Scriptura is actually easily refuted by the question, where is Sola Scriptura found in the Bible? It isn't found anywhere, hence the Protestant must, by his own logic, reject the doctrine. However, this is not the strongest version of Sola Scriptura there is. In this video, we will define Sola Scriptura as the Reformers themselves did. Sola Scriptura, according to these Protestants, does not posit the Bible as the only rule of faith. It posits the Bible as the sole infallible source of authority for Christian faith and practice. It does not reject other authorities, it merely subordinates them to the Bible and declares them fallible. Our argument will be directed against this version of Sola Scriptura. For the sake of the argument, we will be defining the term canon as the list that determines the contents of the Bible. This is a stark departure from the normal definition of the word, since it uses the term contents instead of books. But as we will see, it will help our argument steer through a particular objection. Also worthy of notice is the fact that this redefinition isn't fallacious by any means. We aren't changing the definition of the term mid-argument. And if you still think my definition is problematic, just come up with a new term and replace every instance of canon in this video with this new word. I'm just too lazy to do that. The beginning point of our argument starts with the observation that the canon of the Bible cannot be arrived at through the exercise of natural reason. We cannot prove that so and so books are infallible and divinely inspired, and hence you cannot prove that they are to be included in the Bible. Mere historical reliability cannot get us as far as saying that it is divinely inspired. The closest one can get to proving a book is divinely inspired is by having recourse to fulfilled prophecies. But even if I concede that some prophecies do actually prove that an entire book is divinely inspired, it would be insufficient to prove that the non-prophetic books that are included in the Bible are also divinely inspired. And it is actually these non-prophetic books that make up the majority of the Bible. This leads us to our next consideration. All knowledge is either attained by natural reason or testimony. This is a truth of experience. We either accept something to be true because a competent authority told us so, or because we recognize that statement as being self-evident, as is the case with the statement 2 + 2 = 4. Or again, because we recognize the statement to follow from true premises, like the truth that Socrates is mortal. The last two are based on natural reason, and the first one is based on faith or testimony. Notice a key point here. The word testimony is not limited to human testimony alone, and it includes divine testimony as well. The argument at this stage is indifferent to which type of testimony we are concerned with. From the above two premises, we derive our first conclusion, that the canon of the Bible is known through testimony. Now, this testimony is either infallible or it is fallible. This is merely an application of the principle of the excluded middle, which states that everything either is or is not. Infallible and fallible here are used in reference to the authority on whose testimony we accept the canon of the Bible. If this authority can be wrong, then the canon of the Bible can be wrong. And if the canon of the Bible can be wrong, then the Bible can also be wrong, since it is possible that a book that contains errors is a part of the Bible. But every Protestant here agrees that the Bible cannot contain error or even possibly deceive us. Hence, the canon of the Bible cannot be wrong, therefore the authority on whose testimony we accept the canon cannot be wrong. It might be objected to at this stage that just because an authority can deceive us, it does not mean it does deceive us with respect to a particular proposition, in this case the canon. However, this objection completely misses the point. We are not saying that a fallible authority does deceive us with respect to the canon. We are simply saying that it can do so. We are merely recognizing the possibility of error in the canon, and since we do not have any proof of reason, we cannot rule out this possibility. It might be replied again that there is no problem in acknowledging the possibility of error in the Bible. It is only problematic to assert that the Bible actually does contain error. Contrary to this objection, one can reply that since divine revelation is from God, it cannot deceive us. But we know that the Bible is divine revelation, therefore the Bible cannot even in principle deceive us. To say that there is a possibility of error in the Bible is to admit the possibility of error in divine revelation, which equates to the possibility that God, who can neither deceive nor be deceived, can lie to us. So far so good. We have established that the authority on the basis of which we know the Bible must be infallible. In the next stage of the argument, we will show that this authority cannot possibly be the Bible. But before we continue, I would just like to remind you to press that subscribe button and like this video because it helps this channel to reach more people. Now let's continue. The next premise of our argument is this. If the Bible is the authority, then we would have a vicious circle. This does require some explanation. It is either the case that the Bible is nothing but a collection of infallible and divinely inspired books, or that the Bible is a collection of infallible and divinely inspired books, plus the canon, kind of like an index page within a book. In the first case, every claim the Bible makes must fall within one of the books of the Bible, which means we know that the canon cannot go wrong because the concerned book cannot be wrong. But we only understand a book to be infallible on the basis of the canon. Therefore, we know that this book cannot be wrong because the canon cannot be wrong. This is a very clear instance of circular logic. The second case is actually a bit trickier, and it is here that our redefinition comes into play. Notice how we define the canon as the list which determines the contents of the Bible. Well, if the canon of the Bible is indeed a part of the Bible, then the canon is a content of the Bible. In other words, the canon must also contain a reference to itself. Now again, we have a dichotomy. Either it is a book that testifies to the canon, which as we have shown earlier is fallacious, or it is the canon itself which testifies to the canon, which is also circular and fallacious. It is similar to relying on the contents page of a book to find the contents page. Even if that particular page does show its own page number, it is useless since we would need to find that page in order to access the knowledge in the first place. Hence, the Bible cannot be the source of this testimony. From the previous propositions, we can conclude that there is an authority that is, first and foremost, not the Bible, and secondly, is infallible, and thirdly, a source of divine revelation, since the canon is divine revelation. This truth is in manifest contradiction to the doctrine of Sola Scriptura, which teaches that there is no infallible authority in matters of faith outside the Bible, and thus ends the grand argument against Sola Scriptura. If you reach the end of the video, do not forget to comment down any objections you have against my argument. Also, as I had asked before, do not forget to subscribe to Fantastic Catholic and to like this video. Thank you.